Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet will be unlike anything we've ever seen before in a Naughty Dog game. It is the first new IP by the studio in nearly 15 years. The Uncharted series wrapped up back in 2017, and with The Last of Us Part 2 nearing its 5-year anniversary, the company's silence has been loud. Fans have been starving in a sea of baseless rumors, hot takes on remakes, and endless speculation. It's safe to say that we all had high hopes for 2024, and Naughty Dog did not disappoint. For me, Intergalactic was the highlight of the Game Awards. The trailer, packed to the brim with retro future aesthetics, left me in complete awe, and for a 4-minute trailer, I was surprised at how much we can learn about the game already from its environmental storytelling. There are so many details that tell us about this new world, our protagonists, and even the scope of the narrative itself. As a longtime fan, I'm excited to finally break down the announcement trailer, dive into hidden details you might have missed, and share some theories and speculation on what we've seen so far. The opening of the trailer sets the stage for player anticipation. This foreign text in ancient scripture that translates to, "The suffering of generations must be endured to achieve our divine end." This immediately makes me think back to the overarching theme of faith. We know that Intergalactic will center around a fictional religion. Neil Druckmann has stated in an interview with the New York Times that the story will explore what happens when you put your faith in different institutions. The suffering of generations implies some sort of intentional sacrifice over hundreds of years, with divine end being more ambiguous, possibly relating to some kind of ascension or religious judgment. To me, this screams a story centered around fractured but repurposed identity, to put one's faith in different institutions, to understand that there is more beyond the boundaries of the dominant forces or ideologies of this world. Taking a look at the title of the game itself, the combination of both Heretic and Prophet suggests that our protagonist's actions will defy expectations, seeking to either destroy or reshape existing power structures. The word prophet implies a greater purpose, possibly bringing about revolution or enlightenment that these institutions consider sacrilegious or dangerous to the status quo. I also want to point out the use of a colon in the title. Heretic Prophet narrows the scope of the game to a specific character and storyline. Could this be a hint that we're getting more of an anthology this time around? Different characters and interconnected stories rather than a direct sequel or trilogy. I've seen a lot of people who actually wanted something like this when it comes to previous Naughty Dog games, especially The Last of Us. As someone who gets really attached to characters, I'm personally all for direct sequels, but space is huge. I think an anthology could actually work really well for this game. Looking back at the text, we can also see that this scripture originates from Sempiria, the confirmed home planet for the narrative. Gone are the desolated, forsaken cities of post-apocalyptic America, sleepy beaches, and the legendary colonies of a Madagascan utopia. The surface of Sempiria hints at a world ripe with hostility. Tropical cyclones and violent weather are a stark contrast to the almost serene view from a distance. The deep red atmosphere and shattered moon suggest extreme conditions. Sempiria, like Mars, may be a planet composed of chaotic terrain, volcanoes, canyons, excess rust, and dust storms, with its fanatical inhabitants being the cherry on top. The moon itself is framed, possibly the result of a previous war or violent conflict. This level of destruction is anything but natural and makes me wonder if we'll be encountering some kind of naval warfare, space militia, or rogue technology. Little is known about Sempiria other than it is extremely dangerous. No one has heard from anyone on the planet in 600 years, nearly a millennium, and those foolish enough to fly too close to it seem to vanish without a trace. But that doesn't stop our protagonist from getting a front row seat in her Porsche spaceship. The ancient Semperian scripture is dated to the year 1986, making it very clear that the game takes place in an alternative retro-future timeline. And if you aren't familiar with retrofuturism, think of it this way. What would the future look like through the lens of 80s or 90s nostalgia? What did past generations imagine when they thought of the year 2050? It's the future that never was, a projection of contemporary trends into a later era. The combination of both past and present, and it looks fucking amazing. The interior of this ship is all future punk, 80s style anime, CRT TVs, an Akira SCD player, overwhelming capitalism, and a much needed badass protagonist to make it all flow together seamlessly. Mwah. In Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, we play as Jordan A. Moon, a cowboy bebop-inspired bounty hunter among the stars who is chasing down her current target on Sempiria. At first glance, Jordan seems to be your classic military type. The shaved head and the Irita 6 tattoo on her bicep could be a reference to a previous unit or ship, but I want to talk about Jordan herself for a moment and why she's shaving her head. No, I don't think it's symbolic or anything like that, but I do think it tells us a lot about Jordan's style. Combat in previous Naughty Dog games has always favored gunplay. Close combat in Uncharted and The Last of Us is a favorite of mine, and it's always accessible and fun, but emphasis has always been on upgrading firearms or getting the best ranged weapons to blast your enemies across the map. In Intergalactic, the most eye-catching feature in the promotional material is Jordan's laser sword, which will likely be our primary weapon for the duration of the game. A shaved, scarred head is evidence that our girl likes getting up close and personal, with firearms of any sort being secondary to her preferences. This means that we'll likely be seeing more of a focus placed on sword play this time around, hack and slash, close range weapons, melee upgrades, and things like that. Jordan also has a bunch of other tattoos. There's an octopus creature wrapped around her forearm, birds inked across her chest, what looks like a black hole on her left forearm, 242. One of the characters from the anime she was watching on the back of her arm, maybe this is a favorite character of hers, a chest piece on her left shoulder, and what I think to be a flower on her neck. Out of all of these, the chest piece is what stood out to me the most. Not only does the queen complement the knight that adorns her signature jacket, but it may also give us insight into Jordan's past later on. While Jordan searches through her personal items, the camera pans past a wall covered in newspaper clippings and personal notes. Jordan seems not to be hunting down a single person, but a well-known group of individuals, a criminal organization called the Five Aces, one of which I thought was Nathan Drake for a second. The headlines, "What Happened to the Five Aces" and "Five Aces Mastermind Dead or Hiding," revealed that this group hasn't been seen for quite some time, with the last sighting possibly being months or even years before the events of the game. With Jordan's lead being near Sempiria, I think we have a pretty good idea of what happened to them. In the photo, the Five Aces are having celebratory drinks surrounded by cash. An isolated, lawless planet must be a siren's call for treasure hunters and fugitives alike. Whether they went to Sempiria to score or disappear, we still don't know. We can also see what looks like Jordan herself on the center left, which does confirm that she used to run with this group and that she was once one of the Five Aces. This image resonates warmth and familiarity, but this also means that she's hunting down the other four, her old gang, and that there must have been some kind of extreme betrayal or severe falling out that warrants this level of obsession that to Jordan is worth risking her life to go near Sempiria. The blonde woman in the photo is pinned to the clipping on the top right reading "Third largest safety deposit ship discovered empty weeks after theft." Considering she's pinned here, I'm going to assume that Jordan associates her with this theft, which could hint at who this woman is, someone who is highly deceitful, stealthy, and intelligent. If the main plot of this game revolves around hunting down our old crew, I think it would be really cool if each of our targets had different strengths and capabilities that would challenge us to adapt in combat. While Jordan seems to be a headstrong fighter, the punch first, ask questions later type, perhaps this lady doesn't rely on strength and direct confrontation to get things done, but her finesse and intellect. There are a bunch of cold leads, aliases used by one of our targets, data, security, and account information, all proof that we've been tracking them down for quite some time. Shortly after, our enemy gets interrupted by Jordan's fixer, a sharp-witted space pirate who tells her exactly what she wants to hear. One of the Five Aces has been spotted on Sempiria's moon, the same broken rock we see at the beginning of the trailer. Her current target, Colin Graves, is wanted in what seems to be some kind of bounty hunting target system and has a very high reward of 1,600,000 cosmic coins. I also want to point out that his threat level is 7. While this isn't exactly low, I am curious on who the Five Aces Mastermind article is referring to. You think that it would be Colin, the man in the center of the photo, but could it be one of the other characters, the blonde woman, or even Jordan herself? Would she be keeping up with the media, how her past actions and the downfall of her crew is being perceived in the public eye? Pirate Lady warns Jordan not to go near Sempiria, explaining what we know.
How is that excellent? It's next to fucking Sempiria.
The planet is deadly.
600 years. Anyone who even flies close to it is never heard from again.
You worry too much.
You know what I worry just the right amount.
Colin isn't worth the risk.
We wait for him to leave, or how about we find a new lead? He's not worth it.
But it falls on deaf ears.
I'm wasting my time, aren't I?
Can you please claim him? I don't need another hunter swooping in.
Jordan is determined. She is confident in her capabilities. She's someone who is used to living on the edge, taking risks and reaping the benefits of others' misfortune. She was once one of them, a high-profile criminal, someone who seemingly put her trust in the wrong people, in fragile alliances, but still one of 5. Someone who values luxury, nice things, nice cars, Porsche spaceships, and mountains of cash. Reckless, self-sufficient, materialist, and vengeful. We don't know Jordan's reasoning for joining the 5 Aces. We don't know much about her past or who she is. And I won't be too quick to jump to conclusions, but I'm already sensing that this will be a morally gray character, possibly like Abby or Ellie, a bounty hunter who can't let go of her past and must reconcile with hunting down her old crew, a woman racked by anger, pain, or grief. Pirate Lady eventually gives in and claims Colin as Jordan's target in the system. She lingers when she says goodbye to Jordan, and you get the feeling that their relationship isn't just professional, but there's some level of care there.
Thank you.
Listen, kid. I'll see you on the other side.
If we do have any kind of contact to the outside while on Sempiria, anyone who is able to help or guide us, I feel like it'll be her. We can also find 2 Easter eggs in this scene. Jordan's cup along with the takeout bag on the table is a reference to Macho Nacho in Uncharted.
Can you imagine taking orders from a paranoid psychopath?
This sounds like my first job.
What, the producer on your TV show?
No, my manager from Macho Nacho.
One of the discs in Jordan's collection is labeled after Ellie's Savage Starlight comics in The Last of Us, which I absolutely adore. The Savage Starlight collectibles and the birthday sequence with Joel are the main reasons I've always dreamed about a Naughty Dog game in space. Jordan then heads off towards Semperia's moon, but as her fixer warned, things don't go as planned, as the next shot reveals that she somehow ends up on Sempiria. Maybe she ran into some trouble, or Colin escaped and she was forced to follow him into the chaos. From the press release, we know that Jordan will end up stranded on this planet and will have to use all her skills and wits if she hopes to be the first person to escape its orbit in 600 years, meaning that we'll likely be spending the majority of the game doing just that, hunting down our crew, surviving this new hostile environment, using every tool, every resource to get back to from whence we came. The final scene opens with a foggy, dense forest, and we witness firsthand what's waiting for us at ground level. A huge 3-armed robot wielding what looks to be a double-sided laser axe comes into view, and we get to see Jordan in action as she powers up and charges towards the cyborg, using the environment to her advantage. I love everything about this scene, the laser sword, how agile she is, the way she uses her momentum to strike this thing down. Quite a few people have pointed out that the lights on Jordan's sword, the VLT-67, look like an audio frequency spectrum, which may be an early hint that this will be a music-heavy game. Neil Druckmann was excited to announce Naughty Dog's collaboration with Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor for the score of Intergalactic, and Jordan does seem to be a very music-focused character, as we can see by her giant CD collection. I am extremely hyped about the possibility of this. I feel like a musically enhanced weapon would be insane. Playing Beat Saber on these robots while storming Sempiria sounds incredible, and I can't wait to learn more about Jordan's weapon and how it works. This looks like more than just your average blade. Jordan might just slide her way into my top favorites list just by this sword alone, if I'm honest. I love this thing. The trailer ends here, but I do want to take a moment to speculate based on the visuals in this scene. Jordan is obviously an experienced fighter as she runs up without hesitation, with the quickness, but I'm curious about the robot itself, if it's acting on its own accord, what its purpose is. Could this be one of the reasons that Sempiria went dark, if there is some sort of crisis going on? We can see that there is writing on its shoulder guard, the same foreign writing from the quote at the beginning of the trailer. Maybe it was created to defend, to dispose of any outsiders in the area. I'm also curious about if this will be a new enemy type, or whether this combat encounter is relevant to this specific area. If it is an enemy type, could there be robot classes similar to the infected classes in The Last of Us? Maybe even robo-allies or boss fights. This is going to be Naughty Dog's most ambitious project yet, an emotional, character-driven journey that will once again push boundaries. And knowing the scope and unbelievable amount of detail in the world of The Last of Us Part 2, the graphical fidelity, the fluidity of the combat, I cannot even imagine what we're in for with this one. This game has been in development since 2020, and although we don't have a release date, I feel like we're looking at a 2026 or 2027 release. When it comes to the public, I know that there's been a lot of mixed opinions on this game, and I know that there's been a lot of noise, but I want to reassure you that there are people who are excited for this game, and that there is a community who's looking forward to it. The beauty of Intergalactic is that it's a new IP, a testament to Naughty Dog's creative freedom to build a new world from the ground up and show us once again as storytellers what they can do, that the sky really is the limit this time. Creating a new IP is always a risk, but there is something truly special in that experience, in stepping into a new world with so much life for the very first time. And for Naughty Dog, and showing up anyway, once again, to push the envelope. Or in other words, Naughty Dog has never missed, and I can't wait to learn more about this game. If you found yourself enjoying this video, please consider interacting with it to help support the channel. As we get more information on this game, I will be covering it on the channel, so stay tuned for more coverage on Naughty Dog's brand new IP. Thank you so much to my channel members for your support, and thank you so much for watching. To infinity and beyond, endure and survive. Bye bye.